Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. If you are new, my name is Melody Daniel Luna, and I am the author of the new high fantasy series, The Sun and Moon Saga. And as well as being a fiction writer, I am also a singer-songwriter and one half of the Baroque pop duo Ghost of a Girl. I have one book out in my fantasy series, The Sun and Moon Saga. That book is called Aurora and Luna, and originally it was published in 3 separate installments. And this year, May 1st, I am releasing the full book as the one book that it was always intended to be. And currently I am drafting the sequel, The Solar Queen, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. And for music, Ghost of a Girl has one full-length album out, self-titled Ghost of a Girl, and one EP, Tragic Divine, as well as, I think, 5 music videos. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on all of the streaming platforms, whichever one you use, Apple Music, all the places. And we are currently writing the next full-length album, and we're actually about to go into the recording studio and record not our original album, because we're still writing that, but we're about to record a covers EP. So I'm very excited to hop into the studio. I love being in the studio. It's a fun place to be. So lots of projects going on, lots of projects already out that you can enjoy right now if you want. The other thing that I do, other than write books and make music, well, the other 2 things I do is film YouTube videos, which I haven't put one out in a while. This is my first video in a while. But more on that in a second. The other thing that I do, which I'm still very new at doing, and I still even feel awkward talking about, is I draw. I draw and I illustrate my writing. I illustrate my fantasy series and the short stories that accompany my fantasy series, The Tales of the Sun and the Moon. That's what the collection of short stories is called. And I'm still learning how to draw. I'm still pretty new at this. I mean, I've been dabbling in artwork for a long time, basically my whole life. I've always been creative in many, many ways, and I still am creative in many, many ways. But, I didn't really commit to learning how to draw until about a year ago, just over a year ago. I guess it was fall of 2024. So I spent a decent chunk of last year working on my drawing. Not like a full-time amount of work. I still had to do my day job. And then I also, of course, was still writing and making music, and, there's other things going on in my life. So I wasn't able to put, tons and tons of time into it the way I would have loved. But, I did put a lot of time into it, and I was committed to it, and I still am. And I definitely made progress in this last year, and I'm feeling good about that progress. And I want to talk about that more today. I put out one of these process videos where I just talked about something, and that something was drawing, while there was a video of me drawing like there is right now. I put one of those out about a year ago, talking about how I was learning to draw at age 31. Is that how old I was then? How old am I now? I'm 32, right? Yeah, so I would have been 31 then. you get to a point in your 30s where you just genuinely start forgetting how old you are. Like, yeah, very weird sensation, but I digress. I want to update you on how that's going and just thoughts that I've had along the way. But before I do, I just want to say, yes, it has been a little while since I've put out a video. It's been, I think, close to a month now, really. And I have missed YouTube because I really love vlogging and I really love making soundscapes, and yeah, I love creating on this platform as well. It's very, very fun. However, right now I am really in the weeds with The Solar Queen, the sequel to Aurora and Luna, the next book in my fantasy series. I'm writing a lot. For 6 months, I was drafting at a pace of about 5,000 words a week. And since the winter solstice, since Yule, I have doubled that, and I am now writing about 10,000 words a week. I just had to take a swig of my orange pico tea after saying that. 10,000 words a week is a lot. It's a lot. I mean, maybe you're a writer and maybe you don't feel like that's a lot, but to me, that is a lot, at least with the day job and all of the other projects that I have going on with music, with writing, with illustrating. I've got all the projects I mentioned, and then I've got like a secret project that I'm not telling anyone about. So there's a lot on my plate, and as I said, I do have a day job at this point, so there's only so many hours in any given day, week, month, year, and because of that, like this last month, I have not prioritized YouTube, and I do feel kind of down about that because I love creating for YouTube, and I watch a lot of YouTube, but I also have just really needed to focus on my writing because I'm trying to get this draft done by the spring equinox, and originally I wanted to get it done by the summer solstice, so spend a year drafting, but I'm actually trying to get it done sooner so that I can spend more time away from it and spend, like, before getting into the developmental edits, and then spend more time doing those developmental edits, because I do a lot of my best creative work in the developmental edits, and space for my creative projects really helps me. And I can draft really fast once I'm in the flow, and for the most part, I've been in the flow. Not so much this last week. This last week was really hard, but I know it's just part of writing a book. Some sessions just flow beautifully. Others, it's sort of like, oh my God, what do I write? I don't know what to write. Is this the right thing to write? Oh God, that can't be the right thing to write. And you're just like, feeling a lot of self-doubt the whole way. That was this last week for me, but generally I've been pretty in the flow with it, and I felt pretty good about what I've been writing. So, because I've been writing 10,000 words a week, that's a lot, and I have very much needed time and space, and what that has unfortunately meant is not prioritizing YouTube the way I was back in the fall. And I will get back to YouTube. I will get back to making vlogs and soundscapes and other videos, but for now this is just going to be a quick little tiding you over video. I'm sure you're doing okay without my videos. I'm sure it's not that dire to you. I always feel better when I'm making videos, even if only one person watches them. It's special to me. I really love YouTube. I think it's an amazing platform, and I'm so grateful to have it, especially in 2026. I have always been a huge fan of YouTube, but like in 2026, I am a huge fan of YouTube. But yeah, like writing this much, it means like this much output, it means I need to have more input and have really good high quality input, and also just have more downtime. Time for my mind to wander and daydream about the next scene. And yeah, so I've been actually playing a lot of video games. I've still been reading. I'm reading All the Wrong Questions by Lemony Snicket right now, the prequel to A Series of Unfortunate Events. I've never read it before. I'm reading that. But mostly I'm just playing tons of video games because I may or may not have bought a Nintendo Switch. That was not a planned purchase, but I did it. And I'm loving it. And like, I have been playing video games for a long time, but I kind of fell away from them for a few years because they're not really considered to be productive, right? And like, I've been in a period of my life these last, I guess, 6 years where I've been really focused on investing my time wisely and getting things done, like, you know, working on myself, working on my career. But like, even though that's been really good in a lot of ways, it's also been kind of hard in other ways, and I didn't realize how much I was missing gaming until like last year. Last year is the year I kind of got back into it. And yeah, I mean, I guess it was 2024 that I got back into it. The years, that's the other thing that happens as you get old. The years start to blend together. But I digress. Yeah, so I've been like slowly but surely getting back into gaming on a regular basis. I've had little spurts of gaming a lot throughout these last 2 years, I guess. And then that led to me buying a Nintendo Switch, which was kind of impulsive, but I really am glad that I did it because playing video games, oh man, I think it's actually like curing my burnout, which is actually more valuable than like making better use of my time. I've just like internalized so much of this productivity, hustle, grind culture, and I feel like, well, as you know, if you've been on this channel, I've been almost like deprogramming that out of my mind for this last year or so. And getting a Nintendo Switch was a big part of that because, you know, that's it. Not just wasting a little bit of time on a video game. By the way, video games are not a waste of time. It's just how my indoctrinated mind thinks about it. But yeah, actually like buying the new expensive console, buying a Nintendo Switch, putting down hundreds of dollars on that thing that's gonna waste my time even more. Like, you know, because you could argue I've already wasted my time buying it because it's so much money, so many hours worked, and now I'm gonna waste my time even more by playing it. Like, that's the way my brain used to think of this kind of stuff. But it's actually just been so good for my soul. It's been so good for my soul to just play video games. And like, yeah, they are inspiring because like as an author, because they give me story ideas, they give me a lot of world building ideas, they give me lots of magic ideas, they help me describe things better, but also they're just fun. They're just fun, and they just give my brain a nice active break, like not active physically, but active mentally. As you can probably tell, I'm the kind of person where my mind just, it never settles, or like it very rarely fully settles. And like I do practice yoga, and I do journal, and I do dabble in meditation and like all that kind of stuff, tarot cards. Like I do things to help myself still my mind, but like in my relaxation time, like actually just like gaming and like getting lost in a video game and like doing that kind of like mentally active relaxation. Like that is, yeah, that really helps me actually just take a break. And maybe that doesn't really make sense. I don't know. But I really do find that playing video games actually kind of like heals me, as hokey as that sounds. And like, it's actually really important for me as a writer, like just as it is to read books and watch movies and shows, and just as it is important for me to listen to music as a musician. I feel like playing video games is actually a part of my creative process, just the way consuming all those other forms of media is, because rest is such a crucial part of the creative process. And yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of just rambling now. So yeah, I'm going to get back on topic, but basically I have been playing a lot of my Nintendo Switch and my other consoles, and I have neglected YouTube, and I will get back to YouTube, but right now it's going to just, the videos are going to be coming at a slightly slower pace, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay. I would rather make videos when I genuinely want to make them and not just because I have to make them. And I think that will show in the energy of the video. Not to sound too woo-woo, but you know what I mean? Like, you can tell when someone's clocking it in, and I really don't want to clock in for my YouTube channel. I want to come here when I'm feeling like I genuinely have something to say. And I definitely do today. Okay, let's get into what I really want to talk about in this ramble, which is drawing. And I also, I want to talk about drawing, and more specifically AI and AI art, because 2026, this is it's a weird time. Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with this. This is a lot. You probably already know what I think if you're here. So obviously, as a creator, I find it extremely depressing that, it seems as though AI might replace my role in the world. And I don't mean my role like me, like I personally am important, but my role is in like the role of the artist, like all of our roles. That is really unsettling, and that is scary and saddening, and like, I don't know, I just also think it's just like kind of ridiculous and stupid. And I've had a lot of feelings about it through the last, the last couple of years that AI has been so, is that right? The last couple of years? I think so. Weird. The years just blend together. But, honestly, like, I've had some people, both online and in my life, ask me, why don't you just, like, instead of learning to draw, why don't I just get AI to make me art for my world? It would be quicker and cheaper, and the art would be, like, better, quote unquote better, because I am learning to draw basically from scratch, and I have so much to say to this. Number one, I hate AI art because I think it's theft. I'm sorry if you disagree with that, but like, it's literally theft. When you are using an AI tool to make something that you are then going to use commercially, that is theft. I don't want to talk about people who are using it casually here. I want to talk about people who are using it for like commercial purposes, because that's what I in their hypothetical situation of me using AI to create art for my world, that is what they're talking about. They're talking about me using it to, create art for my books and covers for my books. And in my opinion, that would be theft. And that's not even just my opinion. I actually think that might be the truth of it. I'm open to what you have to say, if you disagree, but I personally think that that's theft because, these AI tools, they're taking from a bunch of artists, like all the real artists, the artists out there that have spent years and decades mastering their craft and years and decades building their body of work, and then that's what they're taking from, that's what I would be taking from to use the AI to make my work. And I'm just against that because I wouldn't want people using my book that I've spent, I've spent over a decade on my series, and I continue to spend more decades on it and building my world, and not just on that project, but also just on my writing skills, my storytelling skills, my skills as a singer-songwriter, writing songs, singing, playing my instruments. And I wouldn't want people making art from my creations, things that I've spent, in some cases, decades working on, to then create art that they're selling to people. I wouldn't want that. And I know that if my books and my music get any kind of commercial recognition, if I start getting an audience, a big enough audience, I know that that's probably inevitable that will happen. But it's more the principle of it that bothers me. I'm less worried about it happening to me, but I wouldn't like it, but I also know that that's the world we're living in right now, but I don't want to contribute to it. I don't want to contribute to it by using these AI art generators to make art for my fantasy world when I could either hire someone and pay them to create art for my fantasy world, or I could do the thing that I've always wanted to do, which is learn to draw and create my own art for my fantasy world. And the first reason for that is theft. The second reason for that is, as I said, I've always wanted to learn to draw. It's always been something, it's just been a skill that I've wanted to have my whole life. As a kid, I wanted to be able to draw, but I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't a natural illustrator the way I am a natural writer and a natural singer. So I just kind of never pursued it. I kind of had that gifted kid syndrome thing when I was a kid, where I was really, really good at certain things, but I didn't know how to be a beginner. I didn't know how to be bad at something and how to learn to be good at something. I am good at learning things now, but that is Melody after she went to hair school and after she seriously worked on her writing craft, which isn't to say that I don't still have tons of work to do as a writer. I do. I feel like I'm just getting started, really. But I had been working on my first book for many, many years before I got real feedback on my writing. And then I got the feedback, and it was hard to receive, and it was challenging to learn the skills I needed to learn to make that, just to up-level my writing. Because, it's a blow to the ego when your work isn't as good as you think it is or as you hope it is, right? But going through that process, or starting to go through that process, and going through the process of hair school, because hair school, you're constantly monitored, you're learning new skills. I was terrible at a lot of the things in hair school when I started doing them. And then, getting constant feedback from professors, or not professors, they're not professors. Why did I say professors? Constant feedback from my hair teacher. Yeah, they can be a professor if they want. I like the word professor. Anyway, and also just feedback from clients, even just working as a stylist out in the world, because that's my day job, as I'm a hairstylist. Even nowadays, like I still get negative feedback from clients occasionally. And that has made me better at learning. It's allowed me to sort of embody that beginner's mind, and that's what I'm taking to drawing, and that's what I have taken to drawing over the course of this last year, is just being okay being a beginner. And that's been so powerful. Having that beginner's mind is the thing that's allowed me to make the progress that I've made, which isn't to say that I'm an amazing artist now. It's just like, I know I've made progress. And I feel good about that progress, right? So like, I'm proud of myself for learning, or starting to learn this skill. And I feel like craftsmanship, I feel like we're losing that in this day and age, when everything is so digital, and like, you can just have AI generate you some beautiful fantasy art. Well, personally, I don't think it's that beautiful, because, there's just always something kind of off about AI stuff to me. Do you know what I mean? Like the AI art, it's technically nice looking, but it's like, you just know it was made by AI. It's got that like glossiness to it that's like, I don't know, it's unsettling to me. And I feel like, we're losing our craftsmanship. And I'm very much a craftsman. Like I love to work with my hands, or in the case of writing, I love to work with my mind, but I love to practice these crafts and like get better at them. And there's so many like different hobbies I have that could be considered crafts in some way. So many of my hobbies are skill building based. I'm a very like creative person, and I'm a very productive person. Like, I'm a very hardworking person. I'm not lazy. I'm just like always on the go, doing. Very much like my mom in that way. So like, my hobbies and my passions, obviously writing, that's a craft. Drawing, that's a craft. Songwriting, that's a craft. Singing, that's a craft. I also love to knit. That's a craft. I love to bake bread and cook and make cookies and cakes. I just love to be in the kitchen cooking. That's a craft. I love to make fancy cocktails. That's a craft. I'm really into making my coffee and tea like in a very specific way. Now, obviously, I don't take all these crafts as seriously as I do others. Like, I'm not like taking my... Like, I'm a casual baker. I'm a casual cook. I'm a casual knitter. I just knit when I need something to do with my hands, when I'm watching TV or whatever. Like, I'm casual with a lot of these things, but I am very, very serious about my writing and my songwriting and my singing, and I'm getting more serious about my drawing. I mean, feels wrong to say I'm serious about it when, like, ultimately, like, it does fall under writing and music for me. But it's up there. I always say, like, I'm a writer, I'm a musician, I'm an illustrator, and I am a YouTuber. I've got those 4 outlets for my expression, and that's another craft that I love to do, is video editing. And I'm not super into cinematography, like I could be way better with that. But you know, that's another craft that I could and probably will one day get more into. Like, but I just feel like we're losing that desire to learn and work hard and like create something out of nothing. And you know, aside from the fact that it's theft, I really think like if you want to write a book, or if you want to draw, or if you want to make music, or really do anything, I really think you gotta love the process of doing those things. If you can't love the process of it, like, why are you doing it at all? Like, you know, and so for me, if I were to just go and use an AI art generator to make AI art for my fantasy series, like, yes, it would be easier, but it's also like, I know that the joy of creating the art, a lot of that just comes in the messiness of creating the art, and not just in having it done and made. You know, it's like writing a book. It's like, if I could push a button and have all of the books in my series now written and like perfectly edited and perfectly published, I wouldn't push it. Excuse me. It would be tempting to push it, you know, in the sense that I want to have these things done before my time, before the end of my life comes, not to get dramatic, but like for me, it's really more about the process of creating these things that I find meaningful. Like, I think if I was able to actually push that magic button, I don't think the results would be as magical as maybe they seem like they would be. Like, I love the process of creating, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're losing something as a culture here when everything is about efficiency and results and just all these external metrics for success and productivity and like what's good. And yeah, I really think something has gone seriously wrong here. And so I am learning to draw, and it's hard. I'll be totally honest. It's really, really hard. Just as there are ups and downs with my writing process, there are ups and downs with my drawing process. And trust me when I say, like, those downs can be really, really difficult. Like, just 2 weeks ago, I was drawing by hand, because at least at this point in time, I always draw by hand. I was drawing a map of the Greenlands, which is one of the kingdoms in my fantasy world. I was drawing this black and white, very detailed map, and I'm drawing it in ink, black ink, and then like basically the drawing will be black and negative space, and that way I'll be able to print it on cream paper. But anyway, so it's in ink, and I get, I think 90% of the way through the drawing, and then I do something that just like totally messes it up, and I had to restart. And you better believe that was a big low, that was a big down. And in some ways, drawing is way harder than writing and music, at least for me. I mean, as I said, I've always kind of had natural abilities to write and make music, so I'm at least finding it really hard. But one of the main things that I find difficult about drawing, physically and not digitally, I suppose, is the fact that it's kind of like if you mess up, there's only so much you can correct, especially when you're doing something like black and negative space and it's in ink. Sometimes, you know, I make a mistake and I can recover from it, but other times, yeah, no. And I just have to restart it, and that's happened a few times. But you know what? Like, that's also part of the learning process, because it's like anytime I've restarted a drawing, it's always come out better in the long run. And I actually think this drawing that you're seeing me do now. I actually think I had to restart it. Yeah, I can't remember. It was a while ago that I was doing this one. But yeah, and so it can be very discouraging, when something like that happens. And just generally, like, even if you are completing the pieces you're wanting to complete, it's still easy to look at other people's art and just go, oh my god, like, I suck. But it's just like, the point is not to be, at least for me, the point is not to be the best visual artist in the world. The point isn't even to be like a super amazing visual artist. The point for me is to create something that I like and that I am proud of, that accompanies my fantasy series. I'm not trying to sell these pieces to you. These are like extra bonus material that go with the writing, and I am trying to sell the writing to you, right? So, I mean, maybe one day I'll feel so good about my drawing and feel so confident about it that maybe I will want to sell it. I don't know, but that's not really the point, and if that does happen, I'm a long way off from that still, but I have made progress with it. I really have, and I'm feeling good about it, like, and I'm also just starting to learn, like, how I like to go about my process with drawing and what materials I like to use and what kinds of things I like to draw. I mostly like to draw landscape and people. I don't really like drawing still life. Maybe I just haven't given it enough of a shot. But yeah, mostly I like to draw people and I like to draw nature. And as I mentioned in my other little rambly process video, like, I'm very inspired by Beatrix Potter, and her work is obviously very, very much about nature. And yeah, like, I mean, everything, the writing, the art, it's all very much set in the natural world and very much a depiction of the natural world. And that's kind of, like, you can see how I'm inspired by her. And by the way, I'm not comparing myself to Beatrix Potter. She is so talented, but just, like, you can see how I'm inspired by her. And just in the kinds of things that I choose to draw, and also in the kinds of things that I choose to write, and how a lot of the world building in my fantasy world has to do with nature and the natural world. You can really see that inspiration from Beatrix Potter, as well as from Kenneth Grahame, not an illustrator, but he was the author of The Wind in the Willows. Yeah, I really like drawing and writing about nature and singing about nature too. A lot of the Ghost of a Girl lyrics kind of revolve around nature and the seasonal cycle and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I feel like I haven't done as much drawing in these last couple of weeks, but maybe that's not true. I've been finishing that map, and now I have a map of New Camelot, a black and white map of New Camelot, or black and negative space rather, for the book, the re-release of Aurora and Luna. And I have the black and negative space map of the Greenlands, also for Aurora and Luna. And I've got the cover to Aurora and Luna as well. And I will be posting about that publicly soon-ish. But first I will share it to Patreon in the Lunar Coven. Patreon and Substack. Basically, it's the same content on both. That's the Lunar Coven, which are the people who so kindly and generously support me and my creative work and this channel. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how far I've come with drawing in this last year. And I know I still have so far to go to get to a point where I'll feel truly proud of my work. But I am proud of it now too, and like I feel happy with how far I've come, and part of that is the fact that I've got some pieces that I like, and a lot of that, probably most of that, is the fact that there's fulfillment in dedicating yourself to a craft. And yeah, I think we're missing that. I think we're losing that in society, and just everything is so quick and easy and digital. And yeah, I really think there's benefit to not making your life as easy as possible. I think there's benefit to struggle and challenge and hard work and craftsmanship. And yeah, I feel like we're losing that, and it's sad. But the thing is like back in the day, like even like 20 or 30 years ago, I feel like it would be, in a sense, it would be easier to become a great artist or to become a great writer or become a great musician, because you would be more bored, you know? You would have less things to occupy your time and your energy, and you would just be more bored, and you would be writing a book as a cure for that boredom, or you would be learning to draw as a cure for that boredom. And we really need to get back to that, but right now, like in our current world, we can't. Like, I'm trying to get back to that, you know? I'm trying to not be on my phone all the time, or, you know, even just not be constantly watching YouTube, which I love. But like, you know, even the things that I love, like I'm not big on social media. I deleted it from my phone. I'm not really posting short form content these days. Maybe in the future I will, but right now it just doesn't seem like a good use of my time. And I've never been big on scrolling it. Well, shouldn't say never. But like I've never scrolled TikTok, really. Like it's just not my thing. And I kind of fell out of love with Instagram several years ago. And yeah, I'm just not big on social media. But I do sink a lot of time into YouTube and now my Nintendo Switch and video games, and like, you know, it's like, it's good to have space in your day where you're bored. Boredom is beautiful. And not that there's anything wrong with like video games or YouTube or whatever it is you use to fill your time, but I feel like the benefit to boredom is that like you might do something creative as a cure for that boredom. And these days though, like I feel like it's harder for people to, as I said, like become a great artist because they're just never bored, right? Like, and that was one of the funny things about last year, is that like one of the weird lessons from last year is that like sometimes when I'm actually the busiest and getting the most done, I look the laziest. And sometimes when I look the busiest, I'm actually getting nothing important done. By which I mean, at least in the context of, you know, talking about drawing, like last year, like I spent, like there were many days where I would sit and work on my drawing. I was working through the course drawing on the right side of the brain. So I wasn't even always working on illustrations for my world. Like sometimes I was just practicing my drawing. But in order to do that, I had to create a container in which I could just focus on that, and I had to allow myself to be a little bored sometimes. But once I would work through that, once I would sort of set up the boundaries around that space where I was going to be learning how to draw, and once I had like let myself sit with the boredom for long enough, oh my God, the fulfillment that comes with that. And I already knew how that goes because that's very much what happens when I write, and when I not just write fiction, but write music and record music. You know, you got to be okay to not just be constantly stimulated and having dopamine come your way. And most people, unfortunately, in today's day and age, don't want to do that. They just want to watch another TikTok, watch another YouTube video, just go to the next thing that's going to make them feel good. And I am not immune to this at all. I have my vices. Just because it's not TikTok, it doesn't mean I don't have my vices. I do. And I'm working on it because I know that in order for me to become the illustrator that I want to become and to make the body of work that I want to make, I can't be constantly distracted by dopamine triggering things. You know what I mean? But I do think, like, because a lot of people, when we're talking about AI and art, a lot of people are like, they get very, very down about it. And I do get down about it sometimes. Like, I don't see the appeal of AI art. Like, I just don't see it. But, you know, I think we might move into a future. I don't know for sure. But I think it's very possible that we move into a future where a lot of the music and movies and books and what have you that we see in the mainstream are created or partially created by AI. And that is depressing. And it can make you just want to throw the towel in. But also, like, I think the other side of that coin, the maybe potentially good side of that coin, is that, like, I have a librarian client as a hairstylist, and she said that she thinks it'll be like this. She said she thinks it'll be like a lot of books will be written by AI, and then there will be the odd book that is written by a human, and it will be more valuable because it's written by a human, depending on the consumer. So currently, I have been drinking my orange pico tea out of a handmade mug that my mom bought for me from her friend who makes handmade mugs. It's not the only handmade mug I have. I also bought one at the honey farm that I get my local honey from. And I love my handmade mugs. Honestly, if these mugs are clean, I go for these mugs. And I've got some fun mugs. I've got some fun pop culture mugs or just cute mugs. Like, I've got a cauldron mug. I've got a Harry Potter mug that's like, it's the Marauders map, and it's black, but then, like, when you put the water in, the Marauders map unveils itself. I've got one that's like that, but Star Wars with lightsabers. Like, I have some fun mugs, and I love mugs. I at least used to collect mugs. My cupboard is now full. I actually just got a new mug as a gift from my friend Tyler. She gave me a Lunar Lovegood mug because she went to this Harry Potter event, and she picked that up for me because she knows I love Harry Potter. Thank you, Tyler. Shout out to you. And yeah, I love all my mugs. But I will say, there is something really luxurious about drinking out of a handmade mug. If you have ever drank out of a handmade mug, you know, it just elevates the drink. And I'm always grabbing my handmade mugs first before any other mug, if they're clean. And I think that will kind of be like books and music and movies and artwork and stuff. I think that it'll be like, you'll have your books and then you'll have your artisan books. And I think that it'll be kind of like, yeah, like a lot of normies will consume like mainstream books that are written by AI or partially written by AI, but then I think like the cool hipster artsy people, they will consume artisan books that are written by real people. And because of that, I think that writing and music and art and like just creative work in general, I think it'll become even more of a luxury good. And I think we might be able to charge more for it. And like, honestly, most creatives don't charge enough as it is. So like, I don't know, raise your prices if you feel it's a good time for that. As a hairstylist, like I see so many creative people undercharge. I think damn near everyone in the salon that I work at undercharges. All of my artist friends in general undercharge to the point of which like sometimes they don't charge at all. Because, you know, artists, we're just happy to do it, you know, like, and the work is fulfilling. So it's like, we don't, like, sometimes we're not thinking about things practically or monetarily, but like, at the end of the day, time is money. And so, you know, if you're not making money doing your art, then, it's going to be like, it's not a project that can sustain itself. You'll need another job to sustain it. And, like, you know, this isn't to say that I'm, like, money hungry. It's just, it would be good, at least for me, I think it would be good if my creative projects could fund themselves. So, yeah, just generally, like, I am totally in favor of artists charging for their work and charging their worth. And it would be cool if, like, we saw this trend where creatives were charging more because there was more of a demand for what they were doing. I have no idea if that will happen. I'm not good with economics. That's so not my thing. 'Cause like, yeah, I think practically speaking, the other sort of downside is like, if the mainstream is, you know, consuming all this AI creative stuff, then like maybe that creates less spaces or like limits the spaces, the spots for like the creatives to have. Like, I don't really understand how the economy works. It's not really my thing, but like if there's a limited amount of spots, just in the sense that, you know, everybody only has so much time to consume so much media, so much music, so many books, so many whatever, right? Like, I know for myself as a reader, I can only read so many books in a given week, in a given month, in a given year. So even though I may want to read like 1,000 books, like I'm sure I could write you a list of like 1,000 books right now. No joke that I want to read. But like realistically, I can only read maybe 52 to 75 of them this year. And that's already reading a lot. That's already reading at like my maximum capacity, right? So like, because everyone has a limited amount of attention to take in all this art, like maybe if we're spending time, or if so many of us are spending time taking in AI art, and then we have less attention for the real art, the work of the real artists, then maybe that will actually create less spots for these real artists to be able to have an audience for their work. But then like maybe the people who do get those spots, maybe they'll be able to charge more. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here. Like, I'm just spitballing, I'm just rambling. This is not like my official opinion on this situation or anything. I mean, it's just what I'm thinking and like wondering about, and I'm curious what you guys have to say about it as well. But yeah, that's probably gonna be it for this ramble. We're already at like an hour, but all in all, like, I think AI is theft, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. Like, whether or not AI has its place at all, that's a whole other conversation. But like using AI to generate art or whatever, words, music, voice acting, using AI to generate that for commercial purposes, that is theft, and I am so not into that. I would so much rather go about the long journey of learning how to draw. Even though it's harder, it's more meaningful. It's way more meaningful. I can guarantee you that I'm way more fulfilled learning to draw, even on the days when I'm struggling, even on the days when I, in the last 90%, mess up my map and have to start from scratch and have like a mental breakdown because of it. I can guarantee you that overall, I'm way more fulfilled creatively than I would be if I was using AI to generate my art. Or in other terms, if I was stealing other people's art to generate art for my world. I really think craftsmanship is something that we need to get back to as a culture. But unfortunately, in this culture where we're just so rushed and we're working so much and we're just so busy and we're so all over the place and our attention is so fragmented, like asking someone to sit down and learn a craft, and just enjoy the process of learning that craft, like that will almost sound like an alien foreign language to most people. They're going to be like, why would I do that? And that will probably only become more what people are thinking as time goes on. Why would I learn to draw when I could have AI generate me some art? That will become, or that is already how a lot of people are thinking about creativity and art and craftsmanship, and it really saddens me. I genuinely think people would be happier if they put down their phones and they just made some bread from scratch, or they just wrote a page in a journal, or they just played the guitar, learned to play their favorite song just for fun. When I say I'm a craftsman, I don't mean like, oh, I'm so skilled and I'm so special and I'm so productive all the time. Like, sure, like I have some specialized skills. I'm a hairstylist, I'm an author, I'm a musician. But I also just have some really fun hobbies. Like I love to bake. I'm always trying new recipes. I'm always tweaking my recipes. And it's just a hobby. I don't think I'll ever work in a professional kitchen. But I love to be in my kitchen. And people think I'm crazy for baking my own bread at home. But it's like, there's joy in the process. Like I put on cinnamon dough buns this morning. Or cinnamon buns dough this morning. I'm so sorry. I've been like stumbling over my words throughout this whole ramble. It's just been a while since I've talked to a camera, or in this case, a microphone. But yeah, I put on cinnamon bun dough this morning, and there's just joy in just making that from scratch. It's like, yeah, I could go and buy some crappy cinnamon buns from the grocery store, but I could also make them from scratch and like really put my love into them. And like, yeah, I just feel like if I were to use AI to generate artwork for my world, that would be like, I don't know, like the McDonald's of art. Like that would be, like that wouldn't be me putting my love into my creative work. And that's how I feel about that. And that is why I would rather learn to draw from scratch, even though it's objectively a harder path. And also I know my target audience would not appreciate AI generated artwork. At least not a huge chunk of my target audience, but like I genuinely agree with them, these hypothetical people, because because I am my target audience, and I don't like AI. I don't think it's good. And I think our obsession with efficiency and productivity, it just needs to stop. It just needs to stop. And that's kind of what this YouTube channel, like that's what one of the main missions behind this YouTube channel, as I unravel all that productivity programming, as you watch me unravel it in my vlogs and in these little rambles and whatnot, like, my mission is to help you unravel that, because I think it's something we all need to unravel, honestly. But that's going to be it for today's ramble. I have definitely said enough. If you like this video, please subscribe. I plan on filming a vlog in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm very excited about it. Really looking forward to that. And yeah, if you want to check out any of my books, the Sun and Moon Saga, the link is in the description. I say books because I did publish that first book in 3 shorter installments. I forget if I mentioned that at the beginning of this ramble, but I published Aurora and Luna in 3 shorter installments because Aurora and Luna is a big, big book. It's just shy of 200,000 words. So I chopped it up into 3 shorter installments: The Misfit Princess, The Rebel Coven, The Near Impossible Quest. And I will be re-releasing Aurora and Luna in the spring with a beautiful cover. Well, I say that, but that's maybe that's a little bit too conceited because I did draw the cover. But I think it's beautiful. And maps that I drew, and I'm excited for that. Yeah, so subscribe if you want to stay in the know, and you can listen to my music on any streaming platform, Ghost of a Girl. We also have, I believe, 5 music videos on YouTube. You can subscribe to my newsletter if you would like to get a short story, a free short story, Fairy Dust, and also get the first 2 chapters of The Misfit Princess / Aurora and Luna for free. All of it for free in your inbox when you subscribe to my newsletter. And then you can see if the Sun and Moon Saga is something that you want to read. And there's the Lunar Coven if you would like to support not just this YouTube channel, but also all of the creative work I do. The Lunar Coven is the best place to do so. That's either my Patreon or my Substack. It's the same content on both. You just pick your preferred platform. And I think that's about it. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for listening to this ramble. I hope you had a good cup of tea. I hope you worked on your knitting project or just did something with your hands, if you like working with your hands while you listen to things, as I do as a craftsman. And yeah, I will probably have more process videos like this in the future, but they are a little tricky to film while drawing because I keep having to stop and reset my camera because my camera turns off like every 20 minutes for some reason, and also then I have to charge my camera up as I'm like in between drawing sessions, and I don't like to do them for every drawing, but they are fun to do occasionally, and I like having a little ramble while the video plays in the background. But thanks again for listening and watching, and I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourself as we move through this winter. And until my next video, stay cozy.